Aloha, Island Emory right here at Taverna Costera in the Arts District. Yes, Las Vegas, people. Today's podcast, special guest, Uncle Hiro Kajiyama, talking about his journey from Hawaii to the Ninth Island. His journey is something to stick around. Just stay tuned, and we're going to bring Uncle Hiro on. Stay tuned. You guys don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
Chicken skin, chicken skin. There's Island with the Village, broadcasting right here downtown Arts District at Taverna Costera at Dragon's Alley. I'm Island Emory. Where are you originally from?
Well, we were talking about the village.
Yeah.
So I come from a small little village in the Big Island, in
Yeah.
the Puna area, called Ke'au.
Ke'au.
And we used to have a village.
Right.
We had the Kabbalah, the theater, the grocery stores, and so on and so forth. So, it's I just love the name and the whole thing about the village.
Yeah, man. I like, and that's one thing is like, transfer from Hawaii to here.
Yeah.
It does take a village to, teach the children.
Yeah.
And then that's what we're
Yeah.
doing, right? Kind of
Yeah.
passing on the generation to
Right on.
generation, right?
And we'll share one more thing with the village is years after this all happened, and it was in the 80s. I was in construction, was slow. So my friend, she owned a bakery, Ke'au Bakery. And she owned that bakery for 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Her husband had passed away, and then she was going to retire. So the police sergeant up the street, there's a police station next to it. His wife would change her mind at the end, and she said he didn't want to do too much work.
Uh-huh.
So Mrs. Sonora says to me, hey, take off this store. When I get back to Japan, you can pay me back. So I turned it into a surf shop, right?
Right.
Get shave ice and stuff for the kids. And I bought 2 Pac-Man machines. So that's how everything went revolve all the way back. And I'm here right now in the village, taking over the bakery.
Yeah.
So that was a good time, But later on, progress came, and it's a food land there now.
Yeah.
Where I was, there's a McDonald's on
Okay.
that land.
Okay.
There's all leased land from shipment, so nobody really owned the land,
Right.
and really nobody owned the village.
I mean,
Yeah.
you sound like a entrepreneur, from the get-go. But then you said you took care of like heavy equipment stuff, like drilling and stuff like that.
No, I'm carpenter.
Oh, carpenter.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
in carpentry from after high school.
After high school.
Yeah, I was in construction. Although I know things like operating,
Yeah,
and
operating.
stuff like that you've learned through construction, but basically I started off as a carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was carpentry in your I guess in your family, or did you have to go to school, or I mean,
No, it was just basically I knew the value of money.
good.
And money, you need money if you want to buy things, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and I wasn't one guy to sit down and crack the books because I was kind of weak in that.
Yeah.
So I upped to work in construction.
Uh-huh.
And when the guy said to me, you start off at $2.80, and the minimum wage was, I think, was $1.60. I said, yeah, I'm in, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed it, and I just retired 2 years ago. I had 48 years in the Carpenters Union, so there was a lot of years, and it's an adventure.
Yes.
It's in the Carpenters is a journeyman.
Yeah.
So a journeyman, yes, you will be part of.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went from Big Island, and then you came straight to mainland, or did you do some traveling before that?
No,
As a carpenter?
I worked in Oahu for a little bit. We was with this company called Constructors Hawaii. Was one of the first companies in Hilo. Was called SK Oda, and then so we went to Honolulu, and we started the first job I was there with. We built the Sea Flight Terminal. It's a hydroplane terminal that went from island to island. I thought it was a beautiful thing, but things wasn't. I guess it wasn't meant to be. So small things brought the giant down.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? Like I think was a whale was one of them, right?
Wow. Really?
They was hitting the humpback whale,
Oh, okay.
and then so they had to shut the place down. And then I stayed there for a long time, and then
What part of Oahu?
all over we worked. And I bought my first condo was on the Wilder and Liho Liho. I remember $4,500, right? So Honolulu was a good time in my life, going surfing and working, and I had one of my favorite jobs was working past Waimea Bay, and I built a food land over there.
Uh-huh.
But the company, the guy that owned the company, Oda, his wife Margaret was the superintendent for the district of education district.
Okay.
So we had a lot of school jobs.
Oh,
You know,
man.
so I don't know how that works, but, but you know, we did get a lot of school jobs.
Oh, that's
You
good,
know,
man. That's
yeah.
what they call it, kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
constant work, though.
Yeah, I have been lucky as far as working, you know, because I try to tell the kids that you got to make yourself be part of the football, you know, championship football team
Right.
or NBA team, whatever. Because I was telling these kids that they need you just as much as you need them, right? To make a winning team.
Yes.
And then so I think I would evolve to, you know, with attitude. I wasn't the smartest guy there, I know that for sure.
Right.
But I came to work every day. I hustled. I was, you know, wanting to make things happen and finish the job. And I didn't talk back. You know, I
Right.
listened, and I think I had a good attitude. And then so I evolved working for these guys for years and years. I never did get laid off. You know what I'm saying? So until I decided to move to the Big Island, and things changed a little bit. But other than that, it's been a good adventure.
Right. But now from the Big Island to Oahu, and then I mean, tell me how you came to the desert.
I know, but before that though, the Carpenters Union
Yeah.
is a United States brotherhood. You can work in any state.
Okay.
You could, and you know, funny about life and about adventure and your journey, you don't know where the hell you're going. So I end up in Massachusetts, Somerville, Massachusetts. I met a girl living in a tent in Hawaiian Acres, and then so you know she wanted to dance hula, so she danced for not actually she chanted for Johnny Lamho.
Johnny Lamore.
I'm sorry, Ray Fonseca.
Oh, Ron Fonseca. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then so I moved with her to Somerville to help her mother restore her house that went back to the Civil War, was owned by a doctor. So, you know, again, you don't know where your journey going to take you. That's where
Right.
it took me. And then years later, we went our separate ways. And somehow or the other, I ended up on Woodward Avenue in Detroit. I lived in Detroit for 5 years, working in the convention business, doing auto shows,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I lived right in the city of Detroit. And, you know, at that time, it wasn't, it's coming back now, I think, but it was a rough time then.
Yeah.
But again, adventure or life journeys take you to there. So
Yeah.
I made the best of it. I worked with good people. And again, I think knowledge is what I've gained to all that. Working with different people and seeing how things are made differently,
Right.
you know, working with other cultures. Because when I first went there, you know, I went to the Union Hall. He says, hey, go down to the, you know, you go down to the Union Hall, put your card in, and then they'll put you on the dispatch.
Okay.
So I got on the dispatch, and then I got a call to work at the River Rouge, where they made the Ford Mustang.
Okay.
It was in Dearborn, Michigan, of all places,
Dearborn,
right?
yeah. I've been
So
there.
I went there, and I said, wow, this is something. I just come from an island now.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is big, right? So he said, wait over there. They're going to pick me up with a truck. So I waited, and I had my lunch can and my toolbox, my hard air waiting to go. Then they finally came, and then I jumped in the back of the truck, and they drove us to an area, and had two trailers, and their color was orange and black letters, and then one trailer was white, and one trailer was black, and then I really don't know which trailer to go in really, but I know that these people wasn't mean people; they was good people.
Yeah.
So I had to respect that. So I kind of sat out for a while outside. But again, you know, journey takes you to situations where I met the guy that used to tie the steel, the rod buster, right?
Yeah.
And his name was Spike, and we became good friends. But it was an adventure again, you know, watching the Mustangs we were making coming out of the assembly line. And
What year was this?
this was in the 70s, late 70s.
Late 70s.
Yeah, late
Okay.
70s. They had a big digital billboard with it's going how many Mustangs are made every day, and I believe I saw 280 something, I think, a day, from the floor panel, which is the first that came off a train, to the last part, the last piece was a battery that was put in, and then last job would be he would start it up and line it up for the train to take. You know, so was a pretty awesome sight to see.
Man.
You know,
So from Hawaii, and then you're going to
Detroit,
Detroit,
yeah,
and then going on to
Chicago. I went to Chicago a little bit because the auto show went to Chicago every year.
Mhm.
So I was part of that. And, I was in Mauna Kea probably before that, though, working on the Keck Observatory. But I had already lost my acclimation to cold. And Chicago was cold,
The
right?
Windy City.
I don't know if it was tough to live.
Yeah.
But the ear and the feet would be the first ones. Although I was lucky that I worked inside, was in McCormick Center, auto show going on. And although I think Chicago was a fun town, was a exciting town to live in.
Now you traveled to Michigan and Chicago. Were there other Asians? Did you see other Asians during your time of travel?
Well, there's always a Chinatown, right? You can go eat Chinese food, right? And there's Chinese. But in Massachusetts, had a lot of Orientals. In fact, when I was there, the Karate Kid just came out. So when the kids saw me, they thought I was Mr. Miyagi, right? So I was doing some side jobs in one, I think it was North Andover, I remember. And then all the neighborhood kids would come by my car in the day, and they follow me to all the different jobs I had. And I had just come there, so I don't know what happened, but I was starting to do landscaping work. And I put up a fence here or two, did some repair work in the house, and that kept me busy for a while. So and then that's how I got connected with all these kids. And I remember the last day I was there, so I told them that I was going to take them fishing down by the lake. And I had a whole load of kids that we went fishing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's fun.
That is cool.
Yeah.
No, from to Chicago or from Massachusetts, Detroit, Chicago. What year did you come to Las Vegas?
Well, my last job we was working at was the Hualalai, the Four Seasons.
Okay.
And then the division manager, he had, and I knew him for a while. He said that, and I was working there for years. He kept me busy. That guy, again, we go with attitude, we go with hustle, we go with promptness, stuff like that. And there's a lot of people better than me.
Yeah.
But sometimes just
attendance
being
is good.
consistent,
Exactly. Attendance.
it's okay. So he said to me, "Hey, Hiroshi, looks like we're not gonna get work coming up." And now that I've been involved with the Carpenters Union here in Vegas and been on the in the e-board, I see how he would have known that, because they would have only you would have see all the permits pulled, you see the agenda that's coming up, you see the interest in the contractors on the jobs that they're looking for it, and if we can man the man and all that. So I've learned that, and he says that Hawaii, especially Hilo, would be slow, which it was.
Right.
And had one time, I think 2008, the whole state was bad. So I had made, I think, a right choice. At the time I came here, the Mandalay Bay and the Luxor was coming up. So I thought I'd go into the heavy construction sector. And but when I went there, again, your Keakua and your journey had brought me to a hotel that I was staying at. And we had just drive from California, my nephew and I. He had wanted to come. So in the front desk, had one girl, they would say, "Hey, don't we know you?" She said, "Yeah, she's from Mountain View, in the Big Island." She said, "Yeah." So I said, it was so small world, right? They said, my nephew here looking for a job. So she says, "Come the next day, I got a job for him." So when I was walking in the back street at the convention center, I walked into a company was from Chicago, and they hired me, and I worked the second day I was here in Vegas.
Wow.
So I was with that company for about 3 months. Then I moved on to the I had opted to take the in-house jobs because I was getting a little older and was more steady and was easier. so I ended up at Excalibur, and I ended up Luxor for a little bit, and then later on I ended up in Mandalay Bay, which I was there for 20 years.
Wow.
But it was a good run, working at that. But going back to the story about the Big Island and the Four Seasons and all, it's kind of like how I got here by situation happening in the world and in your life. But a lot of people are coming now. But if you think about it, it's a big move. It's a lot of a risk. It's a lot of preparation, and you're gonna have some resources to move. I was lucky that when I came here, I had a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I was about to save some money, and I could bring my whole family. But as I sat down there, one time I visited home, and I was in KL school, and my son was in the kindergarten, and then all of a sudden I see these kids fighting like I never seen before, right? And I said, nah, this not good. But I'll have to say that Vegas, as far as the school system, has been really good for my kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that's what we've been doing.
I know. Now these some of these awards that we have on the desk. I mean, you tell me a little bit about what these awards are about.
Yeah. So one couple right here, and I'm proud to show that is when I worked at Mandalay Bay, and again we're going back with the spirit of Aloha, the power of Aloha, the movement of Aloha, right? So as a Hawaiian, I like to promote and share and try to activate this power, and the spirit really, because that's a beautiful spirit.
It is.
And then so Mandalay Bay and then MGM Corporation really, they have a event every year where they select a volunteer of the year, and then so I won it 2 times.
Right on,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
know.
And it was, and if you think about it, it was an honor for me. But if you think about it, you're talking about thousands of employees that MGM has working for them, all the way from Boston to Detroit, and all the way to China, really. And then to have won this title here, and I know I felt good about it because that title came with us helping kids, helping families, and at that time we were with the special spaces doing rooms for terminally ill children, and so that was a big thing for me about sharing Aloha, is with the kids and the families and help them get better, and I look at Facebook now and continue, and I can see a lot of the kids have grown. One got married, and one had their Casaneria, Mexican.
Casanera,
Yeah,
yeah.
had hers a couple weeks ago. But again, we've lost, some kids. But, I've learned that to all this stuff was the mothers was the most powerful, had the most mana. And just like with us too, if you think about it, when we look at our mothers, there's no doubt, right?
Yeah.
Our mothers are awesome, right?
Yeah.
But their mothers also have created foundations. One was the Wesley Payton, where the mother made a Wesley Payton Children's Foundation for kids, and because Wesley loved to read books, so she showed me a picture of a mobile book mobile. Looks like a Holstein cow,
Okay.
with the spots and all.
Okay.
So I created that. We created that, and we've made so far 30 of them. That has, if you go to every hospital here in the valley, there's one with books inside that the mother fills up, and some organization that they find their own. But I share one really quick story of this is that I'm talking about the branch of Aloha. So Wesley Payton's mother had made this organization, and I talked to all the people at Mandalay Bay. I worked with them for years, right? So talking to different Cuban people, Bosnian people, Serbian, Mexican people, all kinds. So I telling them, sharing them about Aloha, sharing to them about this movement we have, and so next thing I was getting all these books come in. A lot of the books is from their own kids, where sometimes they just don't want to part with because it's just part of their kids, right?
Right.
Even I think I feel like the same way.
Right.
But I was having hundreds and then thousands of books coming into when you go into the basement to go to your station and at the security booth. And so I said, what are we gonna do with this now? So again, things happen in the world that we had a hurricane in Puerto Rico. And then so I said, well, it's a big venue, but if we put our minds to it and we get support, we can bring these books to Puerto Rico.
Oh,
and we had
wow.
accumulated 20,000 books. So being that I work in here with the Carpenters Union, and one of the companies that are affiliated and connected with the union is GES Global Expo.
Okay.
So one day we had all our books all packed up, ready to go, shrink wrapped, calculated, and ready was waiting in our trailer. And they had a call from them. They said, Hiro, hey, we ready? We got a 40-foot trailer. We got some space for your books. So I say, hey, call down there, and then next thing you know, they brought out because I was all in a trailer waiting.
Yeah.
They all brought it to the trailer, and off it went to Atlanta. Right there, they sponsored the trip to Atlanta, which is a long way, and then though from Atlanta, it had to go to Jacksonville, but his trip was destined to go to Orlando, which wasn't on the same route.
Right.
So they changed it. They changed it, and they asked the driver to take a special trip to Jacksonville, Florida, to get the books
Orlando.
to the shipping, freight. But at the same time, that would cost money. And then so I was watching. We made a GoFundMe, and I was watching this. Wasn't climbing, but was moving. But all of a sudden, Keakua again. One guy calls up and they say, "Hiro, I got your name to another friend. His wife had passed away, and so they had a GoFundMe. They want to move it forward to our organization, our cause, what we're doing." So right there, I called it. We had the money now, so it went to the shipping company and went to Puerto Rico. And then at the same time, we were making different friends. And I was involved with a charter school at the time. And then so we called the Boca Raton, and two lawyers met the books there in Puerto Rico and toured around with officials from Puerto Rico. And so that's what sometimes that Aloha, I just don't stop one place. It just go crazy. So sometimes I thinking too, and I just saw a caption in the other day by we gotta move Aloha not only here but worldwide. And if you think about it, worldwide, I think we know that this world would be a better world, and it's there, but it just has to be highlighted and stimulated or just brought out by different things.
No, you're definitely right. You're definitely right.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about this journey about books, and now you even try to create what is this classes or courses or skills trade for people to learn about carpentry with the kids. I mean, how's that program going?
Well, I go back to me when I was 18 years old. The direction and the people that motivate you, or you can look up to. And so these kids, we've been visiting all the different various high schools here. And it was in April. They have career fairs, job fairs that we attend, trying to share some thoughts on a career as a journeyman carpenter in the Carpenters Union. So there was one of our biggest movements there, and then so we have a pretty elaborate display when we go to the different high schools, and we always bring another thing we always bring is lepo'o for the teachers, because they've done so much work there too. But so I'm hoping that these kids will see that and maybe go into construction. But I'll have to say that the momentum into going into construction hasn't been as stimulating as I think it would be.
Right.
But we need to, because everybody cannot be working on computers all day long. We need somebody out in the.
Everybody can work in the house. Somebody got to build the house.
Yeah, somebody got to build the house, and it's really easy for them to get involved and get part of. We bring all you really need, and I bring that out to display. Is the tool pouch, your hammer, your hard hat, your shoes, your lunch can, and there's a small specific list of tools, small amount of tools that you need, and then you can go to any construction site, unlike Hawaii, because this is a right to work state, and you can knock on the door. And one of the jobs I was telling them about is a high-speed train coming up. Go there, knock on the door, and say, "Mr. Supervisor, I'm ready to start construction as a union carpenter." And I was telling these kids, remember that somebody, when he was your age, gave him a chance, gave him an opportunity to work and mentor you. So just a lot of things that you might get knocked down, but you got to get up and try again. But so hopefully that the advice and the direction we're steering them to will help them. And I always give them my number when I have them on the phone. They can always call, and which I've had some call, and we can meet for coffee and talk further on how to get this, because we would like to have more youngsters involved in not only carpentry, but many other construction jobs that
Right.
are out there.
Right. Well, like not say just construction, but it's not say funny, but maybe you guys out there watching or listening to us that I see construction like cement trucks with the Hawaii
Yeah.
flags or the Kanakamole flags
Yeah, yeah.
driving by, and I was like, wow, for people to represent the islands or home away from home, it does me proud, man. It brings like a little tear. But for you to come up here and literally build something with your own two hands and say, you know what, I was a part of that. You know what I mean? Like Mandalay Bay,
Yeah, yeah.
or even with the was it special spaces?
Yes.
And for you to offer your time to rent the was it Ronald McDonald House, and then also with the Hawaiian Civic Club, and then also become an educator. And now you're telling me about this immersion school that you're trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, how's the foot traffic on that?
Well, that's a lot of work, a lot of politics involved, but we have wonderful and very inspiring kumuhulas and other leaders in the Hawaiian community that are working effortlessly
Mhm.
into getting this thing together, which is a lot of work.
Yes,
But
it
I,
is.
I hope that, and for me, one day to be part of the committee to file to see it emerge into that school, and I'd like to spend my days there because I'd be a little older then, is to help the kids in building things. And my dream is to one day build a canoe right in the shop there, right? And then who knows, right?
Take them
I'm
to
gonna need help with, but we can Google
you take
and
them to
we
Lake Mead.
they get to Lake Mead, you know. One
I
second.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
One of the things too, I want to share with you that as I retired, you have to come up. You have to have a plan of what you're gonna do, and not just sit around. So in the mornings and sometimes in evenings, I try to. And I'm just a novice, and I've learned from Lori Bokobo on how to make lepo'o. So I try to make that in the mornings before I get started. And now that it's hot, so it's it's even better. And one of the things I'm making here is on a lathe is poi pounders out of koa.
Wow,
So I hope
that is
to I
beautiful.
hope to put that on soon. And you know how everybody has their little pop-up tents and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hope to have a table with some koa and some. I working on Hawaiian paddles too now. And if you went to Zippy's, when you walk into the door on the left hand top corner there, you'll see one of my paddles that
Yeah.
we donated through the Hawaiian Civic Club to Zippy's. And Zippy's was very kind in giving a $10,000 donation for our kids.
Right.
So that was awesome. And then that's really great on them.
No, I mean, I also was there when the governor of Hawaii received one of your paddles.
Mm.
When right after the Lahaina fires.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, man.
That one guy that inspired me was Kumo Souza. And he just something about him that really inspires me. So when he called me and when I knew that he was going to be there too, and those paddles don't take 40 hours to make; they take a lot of hours to
Yeah,
make.
yeah.
And then so I, without hesitation, I said, Kumo, we're going to give one of these paddles, the ho'owa, to the governor that was visiting, and in a time of crisis for them, being Lahaina and all stuff like that. So that was a awesome thing. But again, mentoring from different people, and has been a big part of my life. And then I retired. I had a little party over here, and I invited one of the guy that hired me when I was 18 years old, and then he living in Orange County. So I invited him, and he came, and I was so happy to see him because in reality, I wouldn't have been in standing there that day and today really if it wasn't for people like that who mentor and to guide you and to help you through, and no one have judgment on you, whoever you
Right.
are, right? And then just believed in you really, and and believed in a young boy that really didn't know too much,
Right.
but inside something about you that he believed that was worth his time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Amen to that.
Huh?
Amen to that. Yeah, no, bro.
I talk too
Yeah,
much,
no.
though. Yeah.
No, that's
You
good
get
stuff,
me
man.
going.
That's it, but but we gotta tell your story, man, because we want.
When you gotta seize the moment, I guess, right?
No, yeah,
You gotta
but
seize the moment.
because you never know. So when people watch or they listen,
Yeah.
they never know. Like, oh man, I didn't know he was a cover. I want if we do that. You know what I mean?
Ah.
Or you keep picking up as a hobby. Like you're building
Yeah, yeah.
poi pounders or
Yeah, yeah.
paddles. I mean, where do you get the wood from? They get it shipped in or what?
Well, when I was working at Mauna Kea,
Yeah.
I was, when I first went there, I didn't know too much about protocol,
Yeah.
about Hawaiian stuff.
Yeah.
So even I had decimated, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't broaden my horizons after the the protests
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all. I
yeah.
didn't learn so much, right?
Yeah.
So we was up there. We made the first Keck Observatory, the 30-meter lens. So if you've been to Mauna Kea before,
Yeah.
you see the first stone building,
Yeah.
the original Hale Pohaku.
Yeah.
I stayed in there for 2 years.
Wow.
2 years I
It was
lived in
freezing
there.
up there.
It was cold. It was cold. Had
Mauna
some
Kea.
days more than others.
Yeah.
Had many people that came and went because of the altitude.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I didn't necessarily force myself. I said that I was gonna commit it. So I was sick too.
Yeah.
But I went acclimate yourself
Right.
to get over. And then later on, I was like a Sherpa. Like the guy.
Yeah,
You guys walk up Mount Everest, right?
Yeah, Mount Everest.
In fact, when I'm reading on National Geographic, a lot of the Sherpas have my name too, Kaji. Like Kajiyama, right?
Yeah.
So Kaji Sherpa.
Yeah.
And so
Wow, look at
it's so
you.
funny, right?
No,
But anyways, about I just said, but
No.
about that, or so a lot of things like we dig a hole and use the bathroom there. It's
Yeah.
no. It's a big no. I know that, right?
Yeah.
And then a couple years ago, I went to a Hawaiian Civic Club conference in Seattle. They brought all the Bishop Estate trustees.
Wow.
One of them was Trask. You know how Trask?
Haunani Trask.
So all of us was in a room, and I have to say though, had only 3 of us that went to the workshop.
Yeah.
You think it would be filled,
Right.
because they spent money and time and their time being there,
Yeah.
right? Some of them was relatives of governors or whatever, but they was on the
The panel.
on the Bishop Estate.
Okay.
And the thing, right? What is that? Trustee.
Trustee. Okay.
And then her too. She has just become one. So they came around. They said, "Hey, let's tell us a story of who you are and all." And they came to me. And then I was watching that Teres was sitting next to me, right? So I opened my mouth and I was on Mauna Kea. And I think she even gave me a look. You know what I'm saying? But I was trying to tell her my story, right?
Yeah.
At that time, I was ignorant in that. you know.
Yeah.
But later on, just to tell you about how I got the code. So the guy did when work up there when I was building that was this guy Pagi Hulama from Kiukaha. And so later on to the years, we've been good friends. He lived up the end of Kaiviki, and then so he started to cut koa himself with a chainsaw, and then later on they bought one regular mill. But anyway, so the Hawaiian, not the Bishop, there was a Bishop Estate. Bishop Estate Trust owns, even Mana Road is a road that goes right to the saddle on the east side and goes to Waimea. So up of the Mana Road is the Hawaiian homelands.
Mm-hmm.
Below is the state of Hawaii. And then so you can cut koa wood on the Hawaiian homeland side, but you have to give a bid. The guy would come out, you put a bid how much you want. And I was so proud of my friend because instead of just chopping them down like previous people, he was like a Hawaiian, right? He was like wanted to make like a garden. He was more important to show me the kekis coming up. First place he take me is the kekis, not the wood he has, right? And it was so awesome. He's an awesome guy. But anyway, so he's up in and we cut some trees for canoes that the priest was up praying and all. Every year when I go back, I was so privileged and honored to stay with him in his camp on Mana Road. But that's who I get my wood from. So my friend, his son he worked Aloha Airline for years. So his son worked Aloha Airline for years, right? So Aloha Airlines freight, I can go to right next door is Federal Express.
Yeah.
I get 60% off shipping. So this I ship it out. See again?
Oh, get the connection.
Kiakua.
Yeah,
Kiakua. That's good. Always has a way of finding a good ending.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I think to myself, is there more bad people in this world? For a long time I did, or good people.
Right.
I've come to say that now I believe it's not big difference, but has more good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hope to, and we all hope to, maybe establish more good.
Yes.
And that's to me one of my ways for me to do it because really life is short.
It is.
You know, your time on earth is just go tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah.
So you know, you gotta encourage your kids or yourself to get up and get going, right? And then for me, get going is to be kind to people, and then to, if I can share aloha in whatever way I can.
Right.
So you know, I try to do that. But sometimes too, you know, I got a hard time saying no.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, who cares? It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad
I'm not
thing.
stealing at times, or I'm not doing something criminal. And it's okay. What do you need done? So we do it, right?
It's the time consumption.
It's
though.
yeah, you gotta
It's a
do it.
lot of time, bro.
Yeah.
Damn, no, thank you very much, Uncle, for coming in and hanging out. I know we're gonna do a lot of work together.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, I mean,
And real funny story I share with you guys too out of the Carpenters Union, right?
yeah.
So our main guy, he's the EST, the highest position. So he comes to one of our room we did. Her name was Navy. She passed away though. Beautiful room we did. You can go on special spaces and pull up that room, you'll see that room. She wanted to have a real quiet, timid girl with a blanket, you know, just like this. And then so she wanted a little corner thing where she would sing karaoke. We made a beautiful thing, right? The room was beautiful. We make the room in one morning and we bring her back in the afternoon. And then so that guy came, his name is Frank Hawk, he came. And he saw that. And I said, Frank, stay to the end when the kid come home. Or he couldn't do it. Because that's too much, right? So he went home because this guy is just a gun. He's just a gun tinker. He's just a gun. He creates all kind of shit. I ain't kidding. That's why he's the way he is today.
Yeah.
And he speaks so well.
Right.
So at the next meeting that I went to, and then our e-boards meet, right? And he had put $10,000 to the special spaces. So, and then later on, a couple weeks after that, he bought a trailer. So put our stuff inside to take here and there, right? So that's awesome. But the story is that through that, to that room, to that girl, he started it's called a cup organization where you get different categories now of different things that they do. Like for instance, mental health, or they have a women's auxiliary, or they have a veterans now, or they have a Hispanic one now, you know, or they have the not black but the diversity too, right? Mentorship, apprentice. Many have evolved from that, and then so now, so when he went to negotiate a contract, that was 5 or 6 years ago, he talked to the contractors in where they put 25 cents on the last dollar they was giving. So it's $1.25, but 25 was going to go to the cup program. And he said the reason is that just like MGM, we need to have a good output on what we do. You know, things that we do for community outreach for one. And then that's how that money came about. The contractors paid for that. So, but cup has evolved. Now they got a catalog. So if you come out to participate in something we do, you get few hours. You get run a McDonald's house, you get few hours. It all adds up, right? And then so at the end, you can choose something that you want to get: jackets, boots, hats, whatever. And they have that too, that program. But right here and this one here, that I'll share that one story with you, is that I got 700 hours at a convention in delegates convention in Whittier, California. So I was asked to come up the stage, and then, you know, the stage get 500 carpenters came all from 5 different states, and I was surprised. I didn't, you know, that was a surprise to me. So he says, Frank Hawk, his name is, come up to the podium and say a few words, right? And I tell you, when I went up there, all I had was a dark cloud in my head.
Yeah.
I had not one word out of my head I could say. So I stood there, and all of a sudden, I don't share this story too much, a little chicken skin, right? You know, I went to Lahaina Luna, right?
Okay.
And had one guy, Jimmy Gregg, over there. So every Sunday, maybe I didn't want to go, but I had to go, was a boys' choir. Was the first boys' choir, right? So he come up with the prayer. Ho'onan ni ka makua mau, ke me kawahanino, ke kua mau o mai kaipu, ke kua au kua, right? It came out of my mouth, right? So how many years I never went there, right? How many years is this past, right? And I'm on this podium now in California, comes out of my mouth. This prayer, this Hawaiian prayer. And then so the guy said, is this Hawaiian prayer? And I really didn't have to tell them. They knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, yeah?
Are you chicken skin right now?
Yeah, chicken skin. That's the stuff, the ultimate power, though, of again, connected to here is aloha.
Aloha?
It all connects with that power,
Yeah.
that spirit of aloha.
Wow, man. That is awesome. I know you
Right
get,
on.
I know you get 10,000 more stories, but I know I want to listen more. No, Uncle, man, thank you very much for coming in. Just like
Yeah, it was
literally
my
sharing,
pleasure.
sharing, your journey
Yeah.
from Hawaii to the mainland,
Yep.
and
Thank
now
you.
residing in Las Vegas. And I know we'll be doing a lot more work together,
Right on.
and I see a lot more of community things to come.
I hope so.
I see it, man. I definitely see it.
All
You
right.
know, I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out with us here in the village at Taverna Costera at Dragon's Alley. If you guys are ever down here, try the Bounce Special or the lemon tea. Sounds the best. But till then, I'd like to say hui ho
Malama pono.
and aloha.
Imua.
Hey, come get your fix. I'm Island Learn with the village. Aloha. I'm Island Emory. You can connect with Uncle Hiro at Hawaiian Civic Club or Carpenter.
Kids find you.
Yeah, how do kids find you if you're interested in being a carpenter?
How's that work? How does that work?
You want to send it to Hawaii Civic Club, get a hold of you, or just tell them your email. You got an email?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them. If you like, get a hold of me, Uncle Hiro, about woodwork or classes or courses. Yeah,
That's
John.
me.
Yeah, you tell them.
Wait.
Is that because I'll just
Yeah, put
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
put it on.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we're good. Is there anything else?
Oh yeah. Can you give me your best chee-hoo? Chee-hoo! That's a wrap.
Wrap it up.
Cut it.